Indeed, our population, our citizens demand much harsher actions from us. It was very hard for us to go to the second round of negotiations. When Ukraine deliberately, on the day of our departure, blew up a passenger train and civilians and children died. You see, sometimes when a missile is aimed at a military target, electronic warfare is used, the missile is deliberately redirected, and it explodes, hitting a neighboring house. This is part of war, this is tragedy. Sometimes when a missile is shot down, debris falls on residential buildings and people die. That also happens, but it's terrible, but it's part of war. When a passenger train is moving, in my opinion, a double-decker, it is visible from afar. A huge passenger train, and the person who blows up the railroad and the highway manually, seeing this train, presses the button. The button was pressed manually. And this is terrorism. This is not a train with tanks. It's not even a train with fuel. It's clear that this is a passenger train. And he kills civilians intentionally on peaceful territory. Of course, after that,
И это злит русских.
Yes. And of course, after that, the citizens demand, we need to strike Kiev and Lviv. Enough with the negotiations, and it is very difficult for us in this regard.
Yep. There is a cry for blood in your society when they see something like that. Meaning, you're in a conflict. Fair enough. You're in a war or special military operation, as Russia puts it. And it's one thing for you to hit military targets and accidentally kill civilians. That is one thing. That sucks. Nobody likes it, right? Nobody likes this notion of accidentally killing human beings if you don't necessarily have to kill human beings. It's kind of just a feature of war that's one of the things that happens. It's horrible, but people on some level accept it as a process of the war. It is different, however, when the government intentionally takes on terrorist activities, either killing people, blowing up cars, those type of things, or for that matter, watching a passenger train that they know is a passenger train, and they blow up a passenger train. That is a different animal. And you can imagine for a population that knows its government is holding back, knows that they have something like the Rezhnik and nukes and much more powerful bombs and missiles and much more military and everything else, that strength is being restrained. Yes, I'm going to go to Dune because I love that series. But in Chapter House Dune, the Bene Gesserit makes this point that says most of restraint, what's the word I'm looking for? Most of discipline is hidden discipline. Effectively, it's what you don't see. It's the restraint. It's your ability to not do something. In which case, the Russian government has shown a hell of a lot of discipline and restraint in responding to many of these provocations that have taken place in regards to terrorist activities. If you've noticed, they're not mentioning the airfield. They're not mentioning hitting the nuclear triad. They didn't mention that at all. From their point of view, this is a military target. Just like I said, it was a military target. Can't complain about them getting the jump on you in regards to the target. Killing civilians, that's different. Intentionally killing civilians, that is a much different animal. That is a much different animal. And in that being a much different animal, you can imagine there is a cry for blood that comes out of that population that the Russian government that has been disciplined the entire time on some level has to listen to, which is the reason. And by the way, it's not that I don't think they care about the triad. I would imagine they do. They're just not going to mention it. They accept this is a military target. We know that Western backers gave them this information. We know that the U.S. is most likely involved. We know all of this stuff. We know that the Brits are involved. We know it. It's a military target, however. The thing that we're going to focus on is you murdered civilians. You are terrorists. And as such, that you are terrorists, the special military operation and the tenor of that special military operation may need to change. So it's very possible. There's a lot of talk that is coming out of Russia that the SMO is going to be changed into something else, whether a counterterrorism operation, whatever they want to call it, to have some kind of legal distinction for it. But that legal distinction matters. That legal distinction is not minor. It's not just a change of what they call it. There is a difference between Zelensky and his band of Looney Tunes are not targets too. These people are terrorists, and they will be treated as terrorists. Those are two very different legal distinctions, which means Budanov, I don't remember the names of many of the people because some of those people have left. But effectively, the people who are around Zelensky, his circle of troglodytes, will become fair game under that model. Now, we will see if they make that change. It is unclear. I'm going to dig into this further at 8 o'clock hour because we have an open segment, so I have more time to kind of flesh this out. But that video speaks volumes. He's effectively saying there is a cry in this society of a need to respond, and to respond forcefully. And we are listening to that need to respond. Ergo, what has been taking place over the last several nights, this new phase of the conflict. And I know Mark would say, well, I don't necessarily know if this is not just a spring offensive. That may be true, but it looks different. It looks different. When I see Kiev get pounded night after night after night, and to be very clear, these are military targets. Kiev is putting like missile factories and bunkers and stuff like that in the middle of Kiev. And so when they're hitting something, you're seeing these secondary explosions. You're seeing secondary explosions, not because they hit an apartment complex and then it magically explodes again. You're seeing it because they hit a bunker, and whatever's in that bunker, most likely munitions, weapons factories, etc., it blows it up. So you can imagine the amount of Storm Shadow missiles, the amount of help, maybe even Taurus missiles, the facility that Germany was building on Ukrainian soil, that may be gone. Fuel depots blown up. They've been hitting target after target after target with precision, night after night after night. And Kiev woke up this morning still smoking. If you lived in Kiev today, still smoking. And the reason it's still smoking is because they were getting hit with stuff that looked like this. Something just got hit, and of course you heard the impact. This is the night sky. That's smoke. The smoke is darker than the night. Ain't that something? This is what it looks like with a better picture. Here's another one. The smoky skies of Kiev. If Zelensky honestly believed that him going through these terrorist activities because of his handlers, that, hey, this is a great idea. Sad day for you. Sad day for you. And if you believe that Donald Trump, who I want to talk about in the 8 o'clock hour, is going to come to your rescue, sad day for you. Donald Trump has been alienated. In fact, to get across how alienated Donald Trump is, when they asked Donald Trump about something that I strongly suspect Donald Trump knew about, as I keep saying, I will sell my left testicle under the belief that Donald Trump knew about it as a bet. This is Trump, Air Force One. Hey, Trump, Russia's been bombing the hell out of Zelensky. What do you have to say about this? What do you think about this? You going to help out? What's on your mind about this, Mr. President, sir?
The bombers inside Russia, the airfields, did that change your view at all of what Zelensky, the cards he has?
Well, they gave Putin a reason to go in and bomb the hell out of him last night. That's something I didn't like about it. When I saw it, I said, here we go. Now it's going to be a strike.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? You help rob a bank with somebody, and you know that they gave you information to rob that bank. You know it. You know they gave you the information. And they say, hey, what do you think about it? Yep, I thought it was a bad idea. He gave him a reason to go bomb the hell out of him. And so, yep, that just sucks. That just sucks. None of the, if you think about it, none of the whole, oh my God, Putin's gone crazy. None of that. He is perfectly aware of this one for whatever particular reason, in a way that he wasn't perfectly aware of the other ones. And so in this one, the best that Trump could say is, because again, he can't reveal his hand. You can't say, well, I knew about this. So you have to distance yourself as far away as possible from what has just taken place that you know was well beyond the pale. And so the best that you could say is, yep, thought it was a bad idea. Thought it was a bad idea. So, he gave him a reason to go bomb the hell out of him. And he is bombing the hell out of him day after day after day after day after day after day. Whether this is just a summer offensive or whether this is a new phase of the war, I think it's the latter. I think Russia's come to the conclusion that they can't trust the United States. Now, they already couldn't trust the US, but there's something, and I'll hit it now and I'll talk about it at 8. There's a problem with Trump. Trump has a severe defect with all of this. One or two things are true. Either the president knew or the president didn't know. And both of those things are deeply problematic for the position that Donald Trump wants to take as a negotiator, as a peacemaker. I'm just the guy trying to get a deal. This is not my war at all. Okay, either the president knew or the president didn't know. If the president knew, then liars lie, meaning habitual liars lie. I can expect what's coming out of a habitual liar's mouth to be most likely a lie. And so in that situation, you just can't be trusted, which is my theory of the case. He can't be trusted. He never could be trusted. He was a belligerent in the conflict. He couldn't be trusted in any of these deals where he tried to act like he's a deal maker while ostensibly on one side of a particular conflict. I mean, think of that nonsense. Hey, we're going to have negotiations and I'm going to be your negotiator, even though I'm giving this guy $80 billion. Oh, it seems like you have a conflict of interest, buddy. No, trust me. Trust me. I'm just the negotiating third party. That's all I am. I am, outside of this conflict. That's Biden's war. Nonsense. Nobody's going to accept that, right? But the Russians will pretend to accept it, considering the lunatic that was in the White House before Donald Trump got in. And so either he knew and lied, which is, again, my theory of the case, or he didn't know. Now, the problem with him not knowing is even worse. Because if Donald Trump didn't know, that means that he has no control over his administration. And if he indeed has no control over his administration, then there's no reason to trust him at all. Big, tough man who tells everybody what to do, who fires people left and right, apparently, under that model, the second model, wasn't told something significant that his government was intimately involved in and doesn't have the nerve, the confidence, the balls to go on a firing spree to get to the bottom of why he wasn't told and wasn't told over and over and over again, which is why I don't buy this premise. You'd have to believe that Donald Trump is not told anything, that he's an infant. He has the intelligence of a zygote and everything is being kept from him. I don't buy that premise. But if you want to accept that, then big tough Donald doesn't have control of his government. That is even a worst case situation. And in both of those situations, he can't be trusted. Hence, what is the point of us pretending like we're going to go for some kind of deal? We're going to prosecute the war to unconditional surrender. My guess is